Welcome to Window to China. Today I have two distinguished guests. So Tony Barney for Sterling District Supervisor and better half Marlene Barney for Educator Power. Welcome to you. Can you introduce me more about yourself?
Well, I'm Tony Barney and I'm running for Sterling District Supervisor. It's time for a change in our community, and that's why I'm running, to be an honest, ethical, and hardworking advocate for our community. The people of Sterling deserve nothing less. And for so long we've been represented by a supervisor who has other outside interests and who has refused to really work on any budget over the past 12 years with his fellow supervisors, including fellow Republicans. He's accustomed to saying no to basically everything. I don't believe in that. I think we need to work together. We need to build camaraderie. We need to build alliances among other supervisors, other community members, other community leaders. And it takes someone with experience that's done these type of things to make sure Sterling gets its fair share, of the budget, its fair share of, all the county resources and the respect, that it deserves. And I feel that no longer Sterling should be the doormat of Loudoun County, but should be the gateway to Loudoun County.
I thought it a very good idea. Then why do you think your past experience can make you be a better supervisor? What is your past experience? Well,
first of all, I started in politics back in 1964. So I've been around doing this for years. I'm a lifelong Democrat, moderate, but I believe in working with, once you're elected, once you're in the position of either mediating a board or being part of a group, it's time to try and hear from all sides so you can get the best ideas. But past experience, I served here for 4 years as the executive vice president for 4 years. I served 12 years on the Loudoun County Cable and OVS Commission, 6 years as its chairman, and bringing many resources to the county. And the board was made up of Democrats and Republicans, and
bipartisan,
and it's the only way you're going to get anything done. You can't be extreme to one side or the other, or the only ones who suffer with that is the people in the middle. And when you're extreme to one side or another, basically, in my opinion, you're just using that to raise money or your own personal interests. So I'm looking for the interests of the people. But I've served and I've accomplished the hookup of push for the hookup of cable and Fios in all the public buildings, the schools, the county sheriff, fire department throughout the county, pushed for the expansion of cable and Fios in the western part of the county, helped bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars into the general fund through properly overseeing the negotiation of our franchise fees. And so I have a track record of actually doing more than our current supervisor has done for the county. And more experience, as being a lifelong Democrat. I've served 12 years on the 10th Congressional District with the state party, representing most of Loudoun and Fauquier and Prince William counties, Winchester, Clark County. I've also served as vice chair of the Loudoun County Democratic Committee. I've served as its issues chair, its communications chair, which we were the communications chair, my wife and I, we put together the very first full communication plan for candidates to use, and we're going back to the early 2001, 2002, 2003 year, which is still being implemented in some areas. I've served as just about everything, Loudoun County.
Sterling Foundation.
And I'm also the vice chairman of the Sterling Foundation. I've been with them since 2005. We're responsible for the Sterling Boulevard cleanup and other civic-minded organizations, recycling, how to improve the beauty of the community. We're a nonprofit. I've served for a long time as a high school football coach at Parkview and also at the Lower Loudon Boys Youth Football League as a football coach. I've served for about 23 years as a manager coach for the DCMSBL, which is an adult men's baseball league throughout the tri-county areas. So I've been involved in the community, I've been involved in politics. I've got the experience to go against a very entrenched opponent who's, who doesn't play nice. So so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go after him. I'm ready to take him out. I have a primary on May 2nd with 2 other opponents, and I'm hoping that the people of Sterling will turn out and support me and vote for me and push me forward for the general election against Eugene Delgado.
Wow, you have very rich experience. I saw your website. It's Tony Coach Barney. That's what you talk about. I think is Marlene probably can answer my question. That's a coach because he was coach.
Yeah, well, as he mentioned, he's a football coach. I was actually a teacher at Parkview High School for 9 years, 1 year before that in another Loudoun County school, Stonebridge. But Tony started coaching football. I mean, he coached before I knew him back in California, but he started coaching at our high school as a volunteer coach, actually, for 8 of those 9 years. And then the new head coach brought him on as an assistant coach this past year, but also the Lower Loudon Bill Allen field, which feeds into not just Parkview, but Dominion High School and some of Potomac Falls and some of our other what we call cluster of high schools. So he's been not just a coach, but a lot of those boys, they need guidance, they need mentoring. A lot of them have very hard-working parents who, some of them work a couple of jobs even, and so Tony has almost become like a father figure to a lot of those boys. They really look up to him, and it takes balance, it takes caring and empathy, to do that, especially when it's other people's kids.
How did you find the time to have done a lot?
Well, by trade, I'm a printed circuit board designer. I've been doing that for most of my life. I tried playing, thought I was going to be a professional baseball player, so I went that route and played industrial leagues and semi-pro leagues and played, got into the minors, but I could, it's a whole different experience. Wow. I learned the hard way I couldn't hit the professional curveball. But anyway.
Actually, I'm really impressed both of you work together, always together. I mean.
We're a team.
So, I mean.
We're definitely a partnership, and we operate as a team at home and professionally, except for the printed circuit board design. I don't know anything about that.
She ran for office too back in, was it 2003?
for the school board 12 years ago. And
what's that experience?
Well, it was very challenging, but very fulfilling in that it kind of reawakened, because I ran for the school board, it kind of reawakened my interest in education. And I had taken education as one of my minors in college and done student teaching, but I had not become a teacher. Life had taken me in another direction, so it kind of reawakened that passion for education, and I went back and started substitute teaching, and then subbed in some special ed classes and got really interested in the kids that had learning disabilities, and so I went back to school and got endorsed in, I was already endorsed in English, got my endorsement in special education, and so that's what I did for 9 years, special education English teacher. And it was very, very fulfilling for me. But the funny thing is that the fellow that I ran against was also, he wasn't extreme like this supervisor is, but he was a moderate Republican, and he was also very entrenched in the community. He had lived there for 30 years, and at the time we had just been there for like 9 years, so we were considered newbies still. And And so, you know, I ran a good campaign, but, and actually he supported me in my race at that time, but the other guy was just well known and well liked, and the funny thing is that unfortunately I became friendly with my opponent later, but then unfortunately he passed away about 3 years ago, and his widow is now supporting Tony in his campaign. Even though she is a Republican, she likes Tony, she admires and respects his experience and his concern for the community, and she has gone gung-ho supporting him. So it's really kind of a full circle, and it's really nice.
Speaking of the education is one of the #1 things for your campaign run for supervisor?
You know, what we you know, and I've been trying to speak to people about it. Education has to be up front. You know, the economy, education, our infrastructure, you know, the community. Those are four things that I really focus on. You know, education has to be thought of as not as spending, but as an investment. We're investing in our children. We're invested in their education. We need to fully fund, work to fully fund, the schools, the teachers, the programs, full day kindergarten, whatever it is, because they're moving into a world where it's not like, when I was young, you could be a drafter, you could be, you could go through apprentice programs and learn a skill or a trade. Well, now you have to have a, you got to get your master's degree just to get interviews, just to get interviews, for whatever job. So it's really important that we think of it as an investment in the future, because if we don't highly educate our children, especially in math, science, and reading and writing. If they can't read and write well, it's really going to be hard for them to, to even read the newspaper.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those skills need to be ingrained into our children. We need to pay our teachers better, so they're motivated. The more motivated our education system is, the better we're going to be down the road. And that's just good business. Businesses are looking for communities that have, well-educated communities. And if you got a well-educated community, it's a known fact. Crime is down, and things get done. People start looking at the infrastructure. You want to make sure your roads are good. Your fire and rescues operations are taken care of, and they're up to speed. Your local sheriff and police, your law enforcement agencies are in place, and they're with the latest training and skills that they need to continue to improve. So it's all one investment in the community. And we have to stop looking at these things as, tax and spend, these basic terms that mean nothing. All they create is roadblocks where there's no discussion. We have to stop saying no. We have to start listening to ideas. We need to start discussing these things. How best is everything for the community? And that's where I'm at, and that's what I've been doing, for the most of my life.
Mm-hmm. What did you find out the idea? I mean, so you talk about the investment. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of supervisors I interviewed, they considered the budget. Where do you think the money you can find it to invest on the education, infrastructure, than something else?
Well, the budget, I mean, everything starts with the budget. Supervisors or town council mayor have a great tool. They have, a city planner or a county administrator. That's their biggest tool to hire. You want to make sure you hire that proper person who's actually going to work with you and understands the needs of the community, and it's not politically one way or the other. I think, once you get elected, you've got to be nonpartisan as much as possible. I mean, it's hard, but you have to be that, and you have to think about.
Open to listen to other people. You cannot say no all the time.
Well, if you say no, what does that do? That stops discussion.
Yeah.
And it's just one big negative. It's fine for raising money. No, we don't want these people, or no, we don't want this, or no, we don't want that, or if we do this, the sky is going to fall in. Well, those are all money-raising tools by both extreme sides of the political spectrum. What we need is people to say, hey, wait a minute, let's listen. If they're good ideas, let's listen to them. You know, let's put together a workable plan, and you know, everything should be open.
Yeah, I think a creative job, invest more business, probably the community people need most. So like a partnership with private companies.
Well, that's one thing that,
you know, looking at public-private partnership should be something that's on the table. Should be something that we, at the county level, and that, you know, that we should be exploring and working with groups. I mean, there's just so many things that we should be doing instead of being negative to stuff.
Yeah, I think you also need support. You cannot do alone, by yourself.
right?
Then what
exactly.
way you support him? I know, of course, you always with him.
Yeah, like he said, we're a team, we're a partnership. And so I'm helping him right now with his campaign. I'm the treasurer. That may be an acting position, but at least through the primary, I'm his treasurer.
Did you get paid? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No salaries here for any of this. No, but that's yeah. We're putting all the money. In fact, we've donated some of our own money to the campaign because, hey, you have to believe in what you're doing. You know. If you don't, you might as well not be doing it. But I'm also the acting communications, probably the permanent communications chair. Communications is my big thing because of, you know, my background in English, and I like to write, and I have experience as I was actually the press secretary for the last several months of a congressional campaign in the late 90s, 1998, and that was the campaign of Cornell Brooks, who is now the CEO and president of the NAACP, very well-known national figure, great guy, wonderful candidate, very articulate, smart, Yale Law School graduate, and I think he went to Yale Law School, and I think I don't remember if he took classes at Harvard too, but definitely graduated from Yale and the Yale Law Review. But in any case, I had that great experience. So I've worked on other campaigns and done communications or helped with communications. So that's an area of expertise that I can bring to Tony's campaign.
Both of you also very involved with Sterling Foundation,
yes,
right? What
yes.
is it? What is
Well,
it?
as I said a little bit earlier, you know, I'm the vice chairman of the Sterling Foundation, and we're a nonprofit. It's sterlingfoundation.org. Go and visit our website.
He's the webmaster.
I'm also the webmaster. And we have a huge fundraiser every October called Sterling Fest. That's where we get most of our money. Come out in October. It's really great. And
Columbus
You
Day
have
weekend.
but Sterling
drinks.
Foundation,
Yeah.
our primary goal is the environment. You know, and we clean and take care of about 3-mile long stretch of Sterling Boulevard from Route 7 to Route 28. We clean it, we mow it, we edge it. You know, it's a focal point. We also do other we're in supportive of community gardens, alternative energy sources like solar paneling. We're supportive of those things. Project graduation at Parkview High School, the fireworks at the Sterling Golf and Swim. You know, we do a lot of things for the community.
Beautification.
And we were into recycling up to a couple of years ago. We had a big recycling project, you know, through Parkview that was stationed at Parkview High School. So we're looking to get back into recycling again and reaching out to other groups to see, you know, if we can do this.
And Tony's actually reaching out to like the school principals to see if maybe like especially at the high school level they have environmental science classes to see if and in some of the high schools have environmental clubs to see if they can get involved and make it a community joint effort, you know.
Dr. Brewer over at Dominion High School, they have an environmental class and environmental club, and you know, trying to work on getting their students involved, maybe with the Sterling Foundation. Maybe there's some things that we can help each other out with, you know, share resources, knowledge, ideas.
It's a great idea. It's a great organization. It's community based. We rely on the funds we raise from Sterling Fest, plus individual memberships, and a lot of people don't even know that. But for $20, an individual can join, or a family, or a business for $75 for the year. And I mean, my muscles are sore right now because we were out
there yesterday.
We were out from 9 o'clock for some of the people were out for 3 hours. We were out for a couple of hours, cleaning the boulevard, cleaning Briar Patch Park up. It's amazing the amount of trash that we collect and the amount of junk that we find. I mean, car parts, parts of baby strollers, just metal fenders, all kinds of things, or metal bumpers, and just all kinds of things. Loads of bottles, you know, plastic, glass. I mean, people just don't really think about the environment. You know, it needs to be brought into the public consciousness. There was a big push when I was a kid about conservation, and I don't know, it's somewhere along the line it sort of dropped off. Maybe it wasn't making enough money or something. We're very commercial these days, but it's something I think that we need to focus on again is with the environment is the idea of recycling, and not just recycling, but conservation as well. You know, don't throw all your dirty, you know, diapers or whatever. I mean, it's just amazing what people thoughtlessly, they're fast food trash from, you know, fast food restaurants all over the place. And some of the plastic stuff doesn't disintegrate back. It's not biodegradable, you know?
I think it is all basic, normal things, common things, but important to the community. Also, that's things you calling volunteers help with you, or just you do by your own?
It's all volunteers.
It's all volunteer.
Oh,
yeah.
Calling people, so get together, work on that. I think the people will see long-term benefit if start something basic around you. What I know, Tony and Marlene, is about at Fairfax Public Access TV show. So actually, you have very rich experience about the TV. So what are is the TV advisory commission? What's that?
Well, that's the I was a member of the Loudoun County Cable and OVS Open Video Systems Commission. It's an advisory committee for the Board of Supervisors. And I served 12 years and 6 years as its chairman. And we basically took care of the contract from, Cox Cable, Comcast, Fios, and...
How can you make contract with them?
Well, those are franchise agreements, which is something I was involved. I learned when I was here, when I was executive vice president. The franchise agreement is basically a contract. It's based on FCC guidelines and county ordinances that you have set up between the cable provider and the county, the customer. And it could be, Channel 10 is an example of, part of negotiating the franchise agreement, getting extra funding from the cable provider. All these different things are all negotiated by some particular panel, and then it's brought before the supervisors for them to, if they want this or they don't want that, or they vote on it. But it's all a process of negotiating a contract within certain guidelines that are already established, and making sure the other party lives up to those. Once there's an agreement, not a time you have to have an enforcement in place. Well, the Cable Commission also reviewed the contract, to see if the providers were living up to their end of the bargain each month or every other month when we met, to make sure there was proper connections, or things were being done on schedule, and whatever it was, the funds were coming in, and if not, we filed a non-compliance against them. And then that would speed up the process, and so I oversat that, and a makeup of 9 members on the commission. Half are Democrats, half are Republicans, and making sure everyone gets their fair share to say what they needed to say, but keeping everyone focused on the agreement, the contract, and what's in the county ordinances as well. We also, during my tenure, we didn't have an open video system ordinance in Loudoun County. Well, my commission helped create that. So, and we've also reworked the bylaws and other things. So we've been active.
The other thing I think that's important to know that happened under his chairmanship of the commission was that there was a countywide emergency plan put into effect that was not there before. Countywide emergency broadcast plan in case of a crisis or an emergency, and also the school board meetings and the board of supervisor meetings. They got them televised. Before that, they weren't televised to the public. Now you can sit at home if you're interested in a particular issue and you can't get to the meeting, you can watch it on television.
Yeah, and we reviewed, I did a lot to, monitor things to make sure that we did have, had something on them that was working. I got the push to put, you see the community bulletin boards that come up when there's nothing airing. Well, we pushed for that, in Loudoun, because there was resistance at the time. So we kept pushing, and you just can't say, do it, do it, do it. You had to work with the providers are only human too. So you had to work with them. They're a business, and we were able to reach, common ground almost on a regular basis, and got the things we wanted, we needed, and we got things done. Right. It wasn't always, within a week or two, but we got them done over a reasonable period of time. And I think that's what we need to look for, people who can get things done. I mean, we go back to my campaign. I really focused on going into the community and getting new people involved, empowering them, and then getting them, doing things in the campaign. I have people that are on both sides. I have Democrats, and I have a lot of new Republicans that are helping out. And independents. And independents. I mean, it's really, if you go into the community, there's people there that want to do something if you get them involved. And
can you say one more time, when is the primary?
The primary it's an unassembled caucus, which is called a firehouse primary. It's going to be this coming May 2nd, which is a Saturday. So Saturday, May 2nd, from 12 p.m. noon to 4 p.m. At the Sterling Community Center, which is located 120 Enterprise Street, right in the heart of Sterling, right behind Big Lots.
And your website is?
If you go to my website, it's Tony Barney for Supervisor.com. And there's a link there's a web page called Primary Vote, and it'll tell you everything you need to know. And if you're not registered to vote in the Sterling District, you have until April 24th to get registered, and you too can participate in the primary on May 2nd.
If you live in Sterling District.
So we want to encourage everyone to participate, because this, come November, this is a big election, and we need, if we want to make positive change, and if we want to get the right person in office and move this community forward, I know I'm that person, and I need every vote. I need the entire community involved, and this has got to be a movement of all of us. Get it done.
Best wish for your election. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.